Welcome to our meditation. An interesting question to ask yourself, and you can find out the answer right now, is whether you're able to stop thinking for a few seconds or so, or whether it's impossible to find any gap in the stream of thinking. And you don't stop thinking by exercising willpower. That would not be helpful. For example, holding your breath, I don't recommend that. Because you could stop thinking by holding your breath and getting very tense, and then you're feeling you're holding thought at bay, like this. But the moment you start breathing again, thought will rush back in, even more strongly than before. So it's holding your breath, I don't recommend. But if you're not able to just stop thinking, and not that many people can do that, you may want to use something to help you to not think, and that is for example, not holding your breath, but being aware that you're breathing. Observing that you're breathing, observing the in-breath, feeling it, sensing it, and the out-breath. And even being aware of a short gap at the end of each in and out breath. You breathe in, hold for 2 seconds or so, but don't even have to do that, and out. And there's a cessation at the end of the out breath, a natural cessation. And then you breathe in again, and you continue to be aware of your breathing, and when you do that, you're not thinking. That's why breath awareness is an ancient meditation method. It's also very pleasant. And then after a while you may notice there's a sense of aliveness behind the breath, so to speak. So if you're looking for a very simple meditation technique, observing your breath is a good one. Just as inner body awareness that I've written and spoken about, they are related. If you're observing your breath, you're also becoming aware of the energy field inside your body. It's all very pleasant. Very simple. Peaceful. Sometimes thinking may come back in, and if that happens, you just return your attention to your breathing. And in daily life, when you want a moment of no thought, which is extremely important to get into the habit of cultivating the state of not thinking when you don't actually need to think, so that when you do need to think, your thinking is actually more effective, more powerful, more intelligent, when you are connected with the deeper realm of not thinking, which is the unconditioned consciousness. So in daily life you cultivate as much as possible, just finding brief moments of no thought throughout your daily life. You could associate it with the breath. I call it, the briefest one is one conscious breath, as I call it, which is you breathe in, you breathe out, and while you breathe in and out, just one in breath, one out breath, and while you do that, you're just very much aware of the air flowing into the body, the air flowing out of the body. Conscious, one conscious breath means you're not thinking during that brief moment. And that's very significant. When you're not thinking without losing consciousness, in fact being more alert than when you are thinking, that is finding a new dimension of consciousness within yourself. And it's it is, if I had to single out the most significant thing, the most significant achievement, so to speak, for a human being in this lifetime, it would be the ability to step out of thinking, or, to put it differently, the ability to rise above thinking. Another way of putting it is that's spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening has nothing to do with seeing spirits or angels or talking to God or having past life experiences. Or all these things are wonderful, but they're not necessarily spiritual awakening. They could be associated with spiritual awakening, but they are not in themselves spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening is the realization of a new dimension of consciousness in you that not perhaps, had already been there before, but spontaneously arising occasionally, but had been always overlooked by you. Yes, but you had experienced moments of joy, moments of heightened aliveness, moments of inner peace, but you probably had not associated those moments with not thinking. And yet, if you look more deeply into how these moments of heightened aliveness, joy, inner peace happened, and if you looked more closely, you would realize there was little or no thinking while you were experiencing those moments. Being astonished at something, going, "Ah, wow, isn't that beautiful?" A few seconds of no thought. So thinking is a wonderful thing if you are not possessed by it. If you are able to use thinking, it's a beautiful, amazing tool for creation. But if thinking becomes the basis for your sense of identity, in other words, the narrative in your mind of who you are, the story of me, then thinking becomes a kind of prison. Or, to use a different analogy, thinking becomes then almost like something that possesses you. And you don't even know it. And when you make the statement, "I think," "I am thinking," it's not quite accurate. It would be more accurate to say, "Thinking is happening to me." If you can't stop it, that means it must be happening to you. If you don't even want to stop it, it must be because you are almost addicted to it. You think you would die without it. So if you can't stop thinking, then you are not thinking. Thinking is happening to you. Or you could say you are being thought. You're not thinking. Oh, by the way, while I speak to you, and many of you know this, but it's easy to forget too, since this is a kind of meditation session, although not a conventional one, while I'm speaking to you, be aware of the silent gaps between sentences, between words. Be aware, notice them, be aware of them. Because the meditation part of our session together here is in the silent gaps. The rest is just the words, the pointers towards the silent gaps, the pointers towards stillness. When you become aware of the silent gaps while I speak, breathe, like now, and now, and now. While you notice the silent gaps, acknowledge them, you may also notice that you are not thinking while you notice the gaps, and that's meditation. In that way I can talk you into the meditative state, but you have to be aware that our session has two dimensions: the words and the space. The space is the silent gaps. And not only the silent gaps, it's also an underlying silence, or stillness would be a better word. So you notice those gaps. That's meditation, and that's in the moment of noticing, you're not thinking. And as you practice here, when you go back into your daily life, you may notice silent gaps within yourself, between two thoughts, the space of no thought between two thoughts. Don't need to measure it in time, who knows, 3 seconds, 4. So you have then access to a deeper or higher, depending how you want to use the word, dimension of consciousness. And when you notice the gaps between two thoughts in yourself, in daily life, then they deepen, or you become more aware of them, and they get a little longer. Another word for the gaps between thoughts is stillness. To realize that behind all thoughts there is a realm of stillness, and you become aware of it when one thought comes to an end and the other one hasn't started yet. Suddenly you become aware of what is beyond thought, consciousness. And then you begin to embody that dimension. In your daily life. And then you become a two-dimensional being. You're a person, and you are an expression of consciousness which transcends the person. It's the consciousness of the universe, of which you are in your personal self, a temporary expression. You are the universe being conscious in you. You are the consciousness of the universe. That's a very significant thing. It doesn't matter what you have achieved or not achieved as a person. More fundamentally, you are the consciousness of the universe. You are a focal point of that consciousness. Of course, the consciousness of the universe pervades all space, but you are a focal point of that consciousness, appearing temporarily under the guise of a person. Not for too long, then the person evaporates. Like a soap bubble, it goes pop